Hello, my name is Josh and I make videos about Dungeons & Dragons, for both players and DMs. Now I read the new Player's Handbook, cover to cover, and I liked it so much I decided to write down all the changes that I liked. Viewers of my channel will know I tend to lean on the positive side, so that list quickly grew to 50. And seeing how it's D&D's 50th anniversary, I've decided to share with you 50 things to love about the 2024 Player's Handbook. And they are in no particular order because chaos is fun. Between 2014 and 2024, there are a lot of changes. I'm not going to hit them all, so if I miss anything glaringly obvious, let me know in the comments below. Alrighty, let's get into the list. The buff to Vicious Mockery. Every bard loves to insult people, often to death. Scaling the damage die up to a d6 makes this cantrip pack a proper punch. Small characters speed buff. Halflings and other small characters got a speed buff, 25 feet to 30. Doesn't seem like a lot, but that extra square makes a world of difference.
Sneak attack!
Sneak attack wording. The wording is slightly tweaked, but the main thing is that sneak attack now tells you the type of damage it does. It's the same as the weapon. Just a clarification, but I like it. Counter charm. The new one works off a reaction and gives you or an ally within 30 feet of you a free reroll if they fail a save against a charm or frightened effect. The new roll is made with advantage. The new Warlock Archfey subclass, from the spell list to enhancing Misty Step throughout the class features and getting to cast it for free. It's a cohesive and fun subclass. I'm always favoring a Fey flavoring. The social interaction example on pages 17 and 18. It describes a group of adventurers entering a tavern and their interaction with an NPC. It's a nice little snippet of roleplay and distinguishes between active and descriptive roleplay. Very helpful if you're new to this sort of thing. Origin feats. It was pretty wild in 2014. The feats were not balanced against each other, and any of them could be taken at level 1 if you were a variant human or a custom lineage. Now, the low-level powered feats have been turned into origin feats taken at first level. They're reserved for low levels because their powers are very minute and controlled, and everybody gets one. Changes to Guardian of Faith. Flavor-wise, this spell no longer sets the appearance of the Guardian. It's all up to you. It also clarifies that the Guardian is invulnerable. Lastly, the damage triggers if an enemy starts its turn within 10 feet of the Guardian, meaning you can cast it on top of an enemy that goes after you to immediately trigger the damage. General feats. To get access to the bigger and badder feats like Great Weapon Master and Ritual Caster, you now have to wait until level 4. The wait is worth it though because each feat now comes with an ability score increase, allowing you to increase your character's main stat along with getting a cool ability. Mage Slayer buff. In addition to the ability score increase, this feat now provides a free success on a mental stat save. This replaces the old ability of granting advantage against spells if you're within 5 feet of the caster. The new ability isn't tied to spells in any way, so it's much more versatile. Channel Divinity Sacred Weapon buff. The Paladin Oath with Devotion Sacred Weapon ability now activates as part of the attack action and lasts 10 times longer than before. No more wasting your turn to power up. This falls in line with a slew of other abilities that have been reworked to work as part of your turn, not as an entire action. To coin a phrase, these are turn savers. Weapon Mastery. Weapon Masteries are buffs to weapons that add to their power, versatility, and uniqueness. I made a video about them, you can watch it here. Cats have dark vision. The Bloodied condition. They've now restored the Bloodied condition from prior editions. If you're under half your maximum hit points, you have this condition. It doesn't do anything on its own, but it does open up the design space for other abilities. One subclass in particular that uses the Bloodied condition is the Champion Fighter. Basically, every aspect of this subclass has been buffed, reworked, and simplified. And it's still new player friendly because it mostly interacts with already established features. Advantage on death saves, inspiration, critical hits. Champion Fighter is possibly the most new player-friendly subclass in the game. Disciple of Life Rebalance. The older Life Cleric subclass ability opened up an exploit that allowed the Goodberry spell to heal above its weight class. This was known as Life Berries. With this nerf, it's still an okay ability. This is a good change. Page 49 lists the name of every class and subclass in the book, with a brief description of each. It's essentially a menu for new players. Tieflings. Tieflings have finally embraced their multicoloredness. That art on page 197 is brilliant. Druids can speak while in wild shape. This is weird if you think about it from a biological perspective, but it will save you time from having to play charades as an elk. Nobody wants to see that. Chromatic Orb buff. They've somehow Frankensteined the old Chromatic Orb spell and the Chaos Bolt spells into something new and terrifying. The orb can hit multiple targets now, like a deadly dodgeball. In a recent campaign, our sorcerer used an upcast version of Chromatic Orb to KO the big bad. The ball did not bounce, so that was kind of underwhelming.
I can see!
I can fight!
Heroic Inspiration. This is a free reroll of any die immediately after you roll it. This could be a d20 after failing an ability check, it could be the d10 you roll as part of the confusion spell, humans get it once per day for free, and the musician feat gives it out like candy. Devouring Blade. Warlocks got a new invocation called Devouring Blade. Devouring Blade gives them a second extra attack. You get this later than a fighter would, but it's still awesome. I'd pick this on a Warlock. Humans and feats. In 2014, the variant human could start with an additional feat. There was a lot of incentive to play a human. Now they'll start with an additional origin feat, which is still good and unique, but a lot more balanced. Changes to Second Wind. This fighter feature still lets you heal as a bonus action, but now you get a pool of dice that you can use multiple times. The number of uses will scale with your level, and they can be spent to assist with ability checks and movement. Useful both in combat, so now it's useful both in and out of combat. The help action makes sense now. Sorta. In 2014, you could use the help action to grant advantage on another creature's ability check. The context didn't matter, and the creature giving the help action didn't matter also.
Do you think reality is strained by the fact that a hawk is helping you with surgery right now?
Now you require proficiency in the skill or tool that you're using to give the help action. True Sight Clarification. It's a very small tweak, but the rules now clarify that illusions appear transparent to creatures of True Sight. The old rules didn't specify, so it's appreciated here. Wizards can now be experts in Arcana. The new feature, Scholar, grants expertise in Arcana or other intelligence-based skills. It feels appropriate. Rogues should not know more about magic than wizards. Wild Magic Sorcerer subclass. From the new Wild Magic Surge table, to the unburdening of the DM, to increased player agency, overall a much more solid subclass. Lay on Hands is now a bonus action. Another turn saver buff, paladins can now run in, heal their ally, and attack or cast a spell on the same turn. Boost to martial arts die for monks. Monk received a lot of positive changes, but the most immediately felt is their unarmed strike die starts at a d6 and scales up to a d12 now. I'll say it again, d4s are lame. Surprise, simplified.
Now for the battle plan. As you all know, the key to victory is the element of surprise. Surprise!
If you get the drop on your enemy, they roll initiative with disadvantage. If you're invisible, you get advantage. If you're hidden, you're invisible. It's hard to screw up and super streamlined. Before there was the surprise condition, it got misconstrued a bunch. This is much better. Armor training replacing armor proficiency. The rules are the same, but because proficiency isn't added to your AC anywhere, the name is now less confusing. As a multi-classed character, each class page now outlines exactly what you get and what you need when multi-classing into it. No more flipping back and forth to the multi-class section. Danger Sense buff. A small thing, but barbarians simply now have an advantage on all dexterity saves. It's no longer effects that you can see, which was confusing and vague. Cleric Channel Divinity. Lots of changes here, but my favorite is that Turn Undead is no longer tied to challenge rating. So it's effective from level 2 all the way to 20 instead of quickly becoming useless. Extended Spell buff. In addition to extending the duration of your sorcerer spells, it also grants advantage on concentration. Epic Boons. Every character now gets an epic boon when they reach 19th level. It's an incentive to play to higher levels. They will actually see some use now, hopefully. Good change. Spell List move. Each class's spell list now appears between the class page and the subclass page. Less time spent navigating? I like it. A free Divine Smite. Divine Smite has seen a few controversial changes, but hey, you get a freebie. The new rule for casting multiple spells on your turn has been simplified. Only one spell with a spell slot per turn. So a ranger can use their free casting of Hunter's Mark as a bonus action, followed up with a first level spell with a spell slot. Improved Roving. Rangers get an extra 5-foot increase compared to 2014. Another square or another 5 feet doesn't feel like a lot, but over the course of a campaign, that's a lot of movement. Removal of concentration from magic weapon. Thank you. It's finally usable, just like the movie. Magic Initiate change. In 2014, Magic Initiate allowed you to take spells from any class's spell list. Now, you are limited to Cleric, Druid, or Wizard. This helps to protect the niche of other classes. Spells like Hunter's Mark, Divine Smite, and Hex are all iconic to their respective classes, and now you have to multi-class if you want them. Goliath and Aasimar inclusion. Goliath and Aasimar have made it into the new core species roster. Welcome, new friends. Potions. Potions are now a bonus action to drink. This was a common house rule, and now it's standard. Now, potions might actually see some use in combat. D20 test. This is just a new, expeditious way of saying attack roll, ability check, and saving throw. Fewer words to say, fewer words to write, fewer words to read. Everyone's happy. Lance changes. Lance is no longer a, quote, special weapon. Anyone can use it. I may actually give it a try now. I just reread A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, and there's a lot of jousting in that book, so I guess it's just on my mind. Maps have been added as equipment. They add a +5 to your survival checks, so a ranger with a map is going to get you where you're going. Animate objects change. The number of objects you can animate is now tied to your spellcasting ability. Most summoning spells now summon a single creature or an aura, so this spell has a cool niche. This spell used to be very overpowered, now it's more in line with other options. And number 50. This game allowing me to have quality time with my friends, whether it's running games for them as a dungeon master or hearing what stories they have to tell as a player. It's always a joy and I enjoy making content about it, so I'm just grateful that the game's going to be moving forward and there's going to be more adventures to come. Just kidding, it's the change to the conjure spells like conjure animals. Wow, those were badly designed. Who wants 12 wolves showing up in the middle of a combat that you've carefully crafted? For the most part, much better off now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, or entertained, or ideally both. What is your favorite change to the player's handbook? Let me know in the comments below and we'll have a little chat about it. On the left here is a video that the YouTube algorithm will recommend, and on the right is a playlist with other random video topics about D&D. Thanks for watching, we'll catch you on the next one.